Hello, everybody. Welcome to my session around automotive software. I'm Heiko. I do work for Microsoft doing all vehicle-related technology things, and I'm one of the founders of the Eclipse Foundation working group for the software-defined vehicle, which we founded together with great partners like SUSE, for example. And I'm more than happy that I got asked to join this session. And give you an overview about how we, as Microsoft, together with our great partners, perceive automotive software development in the future. Software is, from our perspective, the third automotive revolution. Obviously, the first automotive revolution was Ford in introducing new patterns in manufacturing, how to industrialize building of cars. And the second automotive revolution was Toyota with improving how management, lean management, and lean manufacturing can be done to really scale in automotive manufacturing. And software is the biggest challenge in these constrained edges like vehicles, because you have a lot of safety requirements, you have a lot of a lot of requirements which you need to fulfill, because you are dealing with nothing less than the life of your driver and the passengers in that car. And that has certain constraints with software. But on the other end, we need to use good modern patterns how to build the software within the car. And this is where we actually want to bridge that gap overall. Microsoft is a company which is more or less trying to help you in empowering whatever your business is, and giving you the needed enablers and the needed software to really build amazing stuff for your customers and to achieve more. Our mission in the automotive industry is actually to fully help this industry to transform into a software business. And this is obviously something which is shared with our great partners at SUSE. So that's why we fully believe in supporting these efforts also with SUSE and really moving that along. The response we got from the industry is really, really amazing. We're doing a lot of good things. And we're trying to help customers like OEMs, Tier 1s, and obviously all other players in the automotive space to come together and build even better stuff for our joint customers at that point. And clearly, we all know that this transformation out there is not only automotive. Every business will be a software business. That's a marvelous quote from Satya Nadella, our chief executive, which really captures what's happening out there. And software is a fast way to differentiate from competition. It's a fast way to market, and you can respond very, very quickly to failure in software and can redeploy it and push it forward. The automotive industry is actually experiencing this extreme right now. With everything which has happened in the automotive industry in the past decades, there were a lot of architectural patterns built into cars, built into backends, built into clouds. And now all of this not coming. There's the need to integrate that and to bring it together. And this is actually where the failure is starting right now, that there's too much complexity, too much is getting too complicated by, let's say, a very short workforce at that point. And especially in the automotive industry, there's a lot of, let's say, internal versus external development happening, and this needs to be brought together. And especially taking a look from the customer perspective, there's a significant growth in what a customer expects from a digital device. And the car or the vehicle itself is one of our digital devices. But some or most of the companies have not kept up with the pace of the smartphone age, which actually means introducing what we call modern patterns of software engineering within constrained edges to really cope with what a customer wants, and even what a customer wants when he has bought the car or is using the car, and so on. And with all the efforts happening in that automotive industry, we have seen that, especially when it comes to the start of production, the so-called SOP, that there's a lot of high development costs. There's a lot of integration costs, which are tied to, let's say, siloed software, which needs to run on one compute or two compute units in the car. We all know these challenges. We've seen that with data centers and their transformation to clouds. And all of these technologies, processes, and tool chains should be able to be leveraged within the car or the vehicle to improve how software is being built. And we're going even one step further. We truly believe that there is no market for another whatever closed ecosystem which is dominated by one or two or three players. We truly believe we are in the right age now that open source can be leveraged fully for the automotive industry as well. That's why we want to provide an open source, open industry approach together with the Eclipse Foundation. And all of you know the Eclipse Foundation is based in Europe and is part of a broader effort to bring open source to all of the industries. And this is actually helping in building only once everything which is non-differentiating also within a vehicle. Think of container runtimes. You don't need to build like 10,000 whatever container runtimes to really get into a container running in the car. There should be one, let's say, open source automotive grade container runtime to help all of you to build great software. When we think of the vehicle itself, and usually there's this term of the digital vehicle or the software-defined vehicle, meaning mainly the full abstraction of hardware and software. And it doesn't help you much to have a digital vehicle if your company is not digital and has the capabilities to help you with a tool chain and also with collaboration tools to build great software. And with the design of the whole, let's say, automotive industry, we need to even think broader, because usually OEMs have written specifications and sent that to tier ones, and then they got something back which got sold to the OEMs. And so that means there is a, let's say, hardware ecosystem around that which needs to transform into a software ecosystem. For that, you need to really collaborate across companies on software. And one great example, various companies collaborating on software, is actually an open source approach. And in those cases where you cannot do that, we need to really leverage sovereign technologies like data spaces to enable collaboration across companies. This is why Microsoft, for example, is heavily invested in an effort like Catena X. Software is driving this transformation. As every digital transformation, it's software. It's developers driving that transformation. We tend to say digital and other things like buzzword after buzzword, but it's really, really crucial to understand it's software which drives every transformation, which helps you to deliver on new rising business models like subscription-based functions or whatever. And that means you need to come at the end to the portion to say, okay, a software-defined vehicle is the change maker, is the lion's share of this transformation. And it's not only changing the mobility value chain, it's changing the life cycle, because you will have the ability to bring software every second month or whatever you choose to a car which is already sold. And that also ties into that operations of such a fleet of cars or such a car park is now actually determined by software, which means we're again in something which we all know out of data centers, cloud operations, and so on. So it becomes mission critical at the end to develop software together with the hardware that it can be seamlessly operated and maintained, and obviously functions can be added in the future on this basis. So that's why we came up with the software-defined vehicle initiative, which from our perspective has 3 pillars. One, and that's I think the most important thing at that point, is the so-called open source SDV ecosystem under the hood of the Eclipse Foundation, where we are really bringing and encouraging everybody to join us on this effort and shape an amazing community. We will be focusing on building all of the non-differentiating components once, whether in car, whether on cloud, or whether in DevOps toolchains. We want to leverage existing standards, but also defining standards for modern patterns of software engineering at that point by just giving you code and not just writing another specification. Obviously, as Microsoft, since we are a big supporter of this community, we will be integrating that into our standard products, whether it's Azure as our cloud or whether it's our developer tools like Visual Studio, like GitHub, to help you to build that amazing software for your customers. And obviously, yes, it's our standard products, and most of them are open source. So everything we add to it will be part of the Eclipse Foundation. So theoretically, it can run on any cloud at that point. And then we're following something which, obviously speaking to a Linux community on with SUSE, one of the early adapters and really bringing distributions of Linux to customers. We're following actually the model of having open source components and then build out a distribution for your product or to support others and so on. And obviously build your differentiating functions based on a distribution. Most importantly, we like to really talk about what it is, but also tell you what it is not. So for us, for Microsoft, SDV is an ecosystem and an OSS community, which we are supporting with people, with knowledge, with integrations, with customer approaches, and so on. We're basically following the blueprint of the Cloud Native Compute Foundation for automotive at that point. And it will be a collection, or is starting to be a collection of non-differentiating components which you can leverage to build your automotive software or to build your business. And for us, it's the modern way of driving standards through software, which means wherever there's a standard, you have at least a reference implementation which you can leverage to build something. For us, it's not a product and it's not a solution. So you cannot call 1-800-Microsoft and tell us, hey, give me SDV. No, sorry for that. We will point you to the Eclipse Foundation and to our great partners there. And obviously, yes, we will help you with tools like GitHub, like Visual Studio, and a lot of stuff there. And it's not something you can buy as is. You need to put effort in. Or if you are not familiar how to do that, we can surely help you with one of our great partners like SUSE to help you build that software. To summarize that, it's like we built these components upstream. Every partner can leverage that with a downstream integration, build a distribution based on our commercial tools at that point, and really then start building great automotive software at that point. And to really get into the weeds at that point, what is Microsoft actually providing in there? We as Microsoft put a lot of effort into it, and It's basically, we will deliver a control plane which is ready for constrained edges into together with our partners into the Eclipse Foundation at that point. We will build a ready-to-use digital twin based on a programming model which will be also provided by Microsoft and its partners in the Eclipse Foundation. And this is like a very foundational layer to really build amazing software and start building on patterns, out of modern software engineering. We started, and it's there. And this is something that I'm really proud of, that we have a ton of amazing partners, OEMs, all of the German tier ones in that ecosystem, partners like SUSE and Red Hat, building jointly with us the next step in automotive, the next step in how to really, really, really think about software and everything which surrounds it. To give you a broader overview how we think about that ecosystem. And we always think of developers and how can we enable them with such an ecosystem. And that's why we believe it's the future for the sustainable software development process within OEMs, within tier ones, within other players in the automotive industry. Developer first is the core principle of this effort. We want to help you as developers to thrive, to really build amazing stuff for your companies, for your customers, and so on. The complexity in automotive currently is not under control. Nobody has an answer how to solve that. What we are trying here is actually to join forces with all the relevant players in the automotive industry to really build a full stack reference implementation which helps you to overcome these hurdles. Cross-company collaboration is a key element in everything which is non-differentiated. And fully leveraging open source communities is the best element ever we can do to really bring all of these companies together. Because then NDAs, contracts between 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever companies are a thing of the past. You can join forces immediately and build out something great in the open source space. We completely believe in open networks and partnerships and everything at that point. And owning control points for data and ecosystems is something our customers should do, not Microsoft. And this is what we believe in. And we are there to help, but we truly want to enable our customers to achieve more with their customers. Enabling an in-car full stack and a programming model is a key piece to have a more sustainable DevOps chain, which can deliver software to cars, which can deliver functions to cars, and which can really help you to even better serve your customers and get more telemetry and data from the car to improve your functions. Obviously, all of that with consent of your customers at that point. The whole life cycle in how you develop a car, how you develop software for that car is really, 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 really a tough challenge in these days. And adding, let's say, processes, tools, and even improving the software after a car is released is adding by far more complexity to it. By joining forces in such an open source ecosystem, we truly believe that we can push these things forward and can really, really work with others how to really improve that and to make it even better for everybody so that we can enable also third parties to make a business on cars, and with the automotive industry. And yes, we are investing in thought leadership. We are investing in helping people to achieve more with the SDV open ecosystem. Was a great pleasure today speaking to you. I'm actually more than happy to answer all of your questions and more than happy to join you all in the virtual Q&A later. I'm Heiko. It was a great pleasure talking to you and see you soon.